Yo, Rich Rising, grand evening, great afternoon, or whatever time you are seeing this live. How y'all doing? How y'all been? Y'all know it's your guy, Mr. Nick. All right, coming to y'all live from the bed because I'm working from the bed today. Please excuse me. I look like I just woke up. I did. I just woke up. Well, I actually got up at 5 o'clock this morning, but I was praying that the storm would come back. It's kind of cold in my room now. Okay, God, I see you. It's gonna turn off for like 2.5 seconds and then turn right back on. Anyways, yeah, how y'all doing? Legitimately, probably wash my face and brush my teeth, and that's it. Oh, I ate me some mashed potatoes too. Them things so far you can legit eat them by yourself, by themselves. So I got on here, and then I looked at my other laptop and was like, "Hold on, I forgot to do something." You know my name. Holy Spirit, ancestors, archangels, guides are the highest white light, source of love, wisdom, and the light. We thank you for bringing us up together today. We ask for protection, peace, and clarity over every person under the sound of my voice. May this space be filled with healing, understanding, and love. For justice and the family seeking. Also lift up those impacted by injustice, praying for freedom, fairness, and compassion. Help us lead with love, walk in forgiveness, and remain open to the guidance meant for our highest good. With gratitude and respect, Ashe, and so shall it be. Oh, so shall it be. It's almost lunchtime. Shoot, am I gonna eat? I really don't feel like cooking today. I woke up feeling like I woke up this morning feeling like I had an appointment with the the yoga man, and I did, and I did. It felt so good to stretch, 'cause, baby, this body was on a thigh this morning, swollen from the rooter to the tutor, everything, just everything. But that comes with, I hate that word. It's not a disease. I mean, it could be a disease, but I refuse to call it a disease. It's autoimmune irregularity. An autoimmune dysfunction. I will not be putting a disease on my body. Regardless of what it is, I will not be saying it's a disease. You have an event. Some things need to be recognized as a disease. So let me take that back. But I don't have any of that. I just have an autoimmune dysfunction. And this is this disability awareness month. So to all my babies out there who are smiling and suffering in silence, to all my neuro babies, to all my folks on them canes and them walkers, to all my folks getting them checks at the first of the month. Wake up, wake up. To all of y'all, it is all love. And I know it's not easy out here sometimes, but just hold on to faith, cause trouble don't last always. And who says that just because you're disabled today that you might not be tomorrow? You get what I'm saying? You gotta trust and believe. Like there was this one time I can attest to. No, there was two times that I can attest to, and I said two times with three. There was two times that I can attest to that God worked miracles for people. Well, one of them times, I'm gonna just give you both and just go from there. So I was going to this church in Monroe. It was a supernatural church. My friend that I was going to college with, she actually had invited me because it was her home church. So I was going to this church, and my friend's grandma was actually blind at the time when I met my friend, and she was walking with the cane and the glasses or whatever like that. And so one Sunday, the pastor called her up to the front of the church, and he asked her. He said, "Do you believe that you could see again?" And she said, "Yes." And he said, "If I told you that I could rub spit in your eyes and you will see again, would you let me do it?" And she said, "Yes." He said, "Can I do it?" And she said, "Yes." So he took his handkerchief out his suit pocket and he spit on the handkerchief and he started praying. And he rubbed that spit across her eyes. I mean, slap across my eyes, open and everything, just open. I mean, open, open. It's a reason I'm saying it like that, because in a normal person's mind, or someone who hasn't been to a supernatural church, or someone who hasn't seen like miracles happen like that, you probably be like, heck no, that's nasty. But nah, like, okay, so he rubbed the spit in her eyes and he started praying and she started praising God. He told her to go ahead and praise God in advance. And she started praising God. And I want to say she missed the next Sunday, but that following Sunday, y'all, this lady walked in there without that cane and without the glasses, and she walked like straight to the front of the church with no help, nobody holding her hand, nobody directing her, and she just started praising God and said she could see again. That was like a beautiful miracle, like a really, really beautiful miracle. And then there was this one lady, look, um, there was this one lady, she just randomly she ended up coming to one of the revival services where we was outside under the tent. And then she proceeded to come to church. And in the midst of her coming to church, he asked her, She rolled herself. She was in a wheelchair, so they rolled her up to the front of the church to the altar, and he asked her if she believed that she would ever walk again, and she said yes. He asked her, "Do you believe that your leg could grow out?" And she looked at him funny, and she was like, "Do you know that with God anything can happen?" She said yes. He asked her if he could take her out of her wheelchair and place her on the floor. She said yes. So he lifted her up out of the wheelchair and he placed her on the floor. And when he placed her on the floor, he went to her leg because she was an amputee. So she had one full leg and one half leg. She was an amputee. So he took, like, this is the leg, right? And he took it and he was praying over it like this. He wasn't touching it. He was just praying over it and pulling at it like this, like he was pulling it out. And he was praying over it and pulling it out just like this, like just like this, just pulling it. But he wasn't actually touching it. So he told her, he said, if you just have faith and listen to what I'm telling you, your leg is gonna grow fully back out. And she said, and so the next Sunday came. He placed the back. I mean, he placed it back in the wheelchair. And the next Sunday came, and she went up to the altar and she told him. She said that she had went to go get fitted for um, her prosthetic. And in the midst of getting fitted for her prosthetic, they told her that oddly her leg had started growing. And they felt like they needed to shave it down so that it would fit in the prosthetic. So he asked her again if he could take her out the wheelchair and pray over her leg. And she said yes. So he took her out the wheelchair and he placed her on the floor and he did the process again. He started pulling at her leg and praying. And he told her, he said, just keep coming back. Let me pray over your leg. It's going to grow back out fully. He said, now, them doctors are going to want to put you on that surgery table to shade his leg down. He said, don't you do it. He said, I don't want to scare you, but if you get up there on that table, you might not make it down. And said, okay. So the next Sunday came. She came back to the altar. He did the same thing all over again. Same process. Took out the wheelchair, started praying, started pulling at her leg, and it was indeed growing back. And he told her again, he said, the doctor's gonna want to cut on your leg. Do not let them touch your leg. Do not let them do it. The following Sunday came, and the lady didn't return to church. Her son came to church, and her son came to church and told everyone that the doctors insisted on cutting on her leg, and she okayed it, and she never made it off the table. So I don't know who I'm talking to today, but if God gave you a word that He was going to do something, don't let anybody deter you away from what He already told you and promised you. Don't take no easy route. Don't take something because it's glittering and shining. Just take heed to the word that he already gave you. Take heed to his promise, because his promise is always true, irregardless of what it is, irregardless of whether it may be too big for your sight right now or the unthinkable. Just hold steady to the promise that God is going to do what he said he's going to do for you. Even if you're disabled, you got to trust and believe that this is just a season of your life. And sometimes God used these seasons to to show that he is real in your life and other people's lives, so that other people can witness the glory of God through you. So if you are one of these people that's out here hurting or going through some type of disability right now, you just gotta trust the process and understand that trouble don't last always. God, I thank you. Mm. God, I thank you. I just so Disability Awareness Month this month. To all my folks out there going through something, I love you. I pray a healing on your body, from the crown of your head to the soles of your feet, from the inside out, and so shall it be. I just I clicked on one of my Facebook friends' reels or stories this morning, and all I heard was, "Look at God, look at God, He's making a way." And of course, I'm off beat. um, Lord have mercy. Um, what's that lady name? She's the same one. Oh wow, that's a blessing. God is so good, y'all. Y'all don't even understand. This is not even what I was coming on here for. But either way it goes, it still remains the same, regardless of what I'm doing, whether I'm reading these cards, whether I'm just giving a moment of testimony, whether I'm reading the devotion or reading the book to y'all. It all remains the same, that God is a faithful God, and He's always going to look out and make sure that He provides for us. But He also gonna whoop our tail too if we don't listen and take heed to what He is giving us to take heed to. So I just want to read this one page right here. I just want to read this one page. It says, "Anoint me. I'm single." And I'm reading this from the Healing the Wounds of the Past, T.D. Jakes. I actually want to highlight this. But it says, "You may not understand the benefits of being single. In reality, while you're not married, you really ought to be involved with God. When you get married, you direct all of the training that you had while you were unmarried toward your spouse." The Apostle Paul addressed this issue in the first letter to the church of Corinth. It says, First Corinthians 7:32 and 34 through 34. "But I want you to be without care. He who is unmarried cares for the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he who is married cares about the things of the world, how he may please his wife. There's a difference between a wife and a virgin. The unmarried woman cares about the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and in spirit. But she who is married cares about the things of the world, how she may please her husband. So if you are going through a season of singleness right now, it says singles often forget some very important advantages they have. At 5 a.m., you can lie in bed and pray in the spirit till 7:30 a.m. and not have to answer to anyone. That's exactly what I did this morning. You can worship the Lord whenever and however you please. You can lie prostrate on the floor in your house and worship, and no one will become annoyed about it. Well, we're going to pause right there. Pause. Because if I'm in a relationship, we got to be able to serve the Lord at any time, whatever time, and however it happens. Because I could be sitting here right now and just bust out in the shower. You just never know. Like, and if that's gonna annoy you, we can't be in a relationship. That's just me. But that's also the time that I have spent with God. And matter of fact, I have spent how much? Let me see. I've been out here since 2020. 5 years. Five. Now I've been legally single for a year and 7 months. Well, a year and a half. But I have been single by myself for 5 years. Often those who minister in churches hear unmarried men and women complain about their need for a spouse, but rarely do singles boast about the kind of relationship they are free to build with the Lord. Are you complaining about how you need someone? Take advantage of the time you don't have to worry about providing and caring for a family. While people are single, they need to recognize that they have the unique opportunity to build themselves in the Lord without the drains that can occur later. And for me, I can honestly say that in these last 10 months, um, I have found myself going to the doctor on a regular. I have found myself going to the therapist on a regular. I go to the shrink every blue moon, but it's because I haven't been diagnosed with anything, so I don't really have to go. But I like to just tap in with my psyche to make sure I'm of good standing. I didn't really, I just feel like, and then I've been getting closer to God these last 5 years. Now, don't get me wrong, like, my relationship with God has stemmed back from when I was a kid because I was always like forced to read the Bible, forced to pray, but then it became a thing of repetition, but more of repetition that I would not, that's something that I'm not going to give up. There was a time that I did steer away when my mom passed away, but after that year, God showed me that He was still with me. Like my biological mom tried to make me and my family try to make us homeless. I'm very intelligent though, so I made sure that I kept my home away from her so that that wouldn't be affected. I had a family member that almost took away my home at that point in time. And just God just came in basically and like got us together and reminded me that He was with me every step of the way, even though I was mad at Him for my mama being passed away. So outside of that, my relationship with God has always been strong, but I did allow my marriage at one point to deter me away from the relationship that I had with God. And the reason that happened is because I got married knowing that God did not ordain the marriage. Like I even had caught a fever the night before I got married. Um, my baby mama, one of my kids' mothers. I'm not gonna say my baby mama. One of my kids' mothers, and I have no attachment to her now. Like it was just a child that I actually had partook in helping raise. Confirmation. It was just a child that I had partook in helping raise for several years. She was actually the witness at my wedding, and she cried the whole day. I mean, the whole day, the whole day. It was so bad. I had did my daughter hair. She was only one at the time. She took my baby hair out. Like she tried to sabotage that whole day. It was kind of funny in the end thinking about it. But I'm just saying this to say that like God never had never ordained the marriage in the first place. And now seeing that I've been by myself for 5 years and being able to sit with myself and being able to sit with God and I'm used to having a house full of kids. This is the first year that I haven't had a house full of kids. Well, this isn't the first year because the last 2 years I've been homeless. So, but this is the first year by myself completely. I mean, completely by myself. My son turned 18 and he went on his way. And I'm not complaining. I'm not talking bad. It just is what it is, you know? Like, I take accountability for my part that is played in the situation. But I'm honestly kind of at peace at this moment in time because I've sat with God and I know that when it does come time that I find my wife, I'm going to be ready this time because I'm actually building a solid foundation before she gets here. And I ask God, like even with my godchildren, I ask God if ever there's a moment where I am deserving of their presence and their love again, please bring my children back to me. And it's kind of funny because I started going live once I moved in here, and I started going back live. And my oldest daughter ended up in one of my TikTok lives, and she said that I was on her For You page. She ain't following me. I'm not following her. I don't even think we have each other's number right now, to be real honest. But she ended up in my live and she told me she loved me and she missed me and that she's waiting. And so I took that as a sign that God was telling me that I am on the right path of my healing and my growth. Now I didn't like immediately like jump offline and go look for my daughter or nothing like that. Like I just sat with that moment and I continue to pray to God that okay, if this is what you want, if I'm deserving and if my children are, in a place of receiving me back, then it will happen. And I feel like it'll happen organically. Like it's not gonna be a thing of I gotta go track you down or you gotta come track me down. It's just gonna be an organic thing that happens over time as I grow. And so basically I just feel like this at one point in the beginning of this, like I was upset because like God, how why am I by myself? Like three of my godchildren actually asked me to be their godparent. And honestly and truly, I kind of feel heartbroken some days because I feel like I failed them. But then there's other days where I thank God that I was able to see where I was going wrong in my life and that I was able to detach from everyone in order to get it together. And I just take that this is lit now that I'm reading this part. I'm understanding the being single. I'm understanding being alone. And I've never been bothered with being alone because I've really been being alone my whole life. I could be in a room full of people and still be alone. Um, but I'm in a better place of being alone because I'm not alone. I got God. I got my ancestors and my angels. But it says, this time is in your life for you to charge up the battery cells. It's time to pamper, a time to take long, luxurious baths or strolls in the countryside where you can worship the Lord. It's a ministry you have. Before you ask God for another lover, take care of Him. If you are not ministering to His needs and yet you are always before Him asking Him to give you one of His prince or princesses to minister to, your prayers are not being heard because you are not being faithful to Him. When you become faithful in your singleness, then you will be better prepared to be faithful with the spouse. If you disregard the perfect love Jesus, if you disregard the perfect lover, Jesus, you will certainly disregard the rest of your life, the rest of us. If you ignore the one who provides oxygen, breath, bone tissue, strength, blood, and life itself, you will certainly not be able to have regard for any earthly spouse. The Lord wants to make you sweet. Mm. The Lord wants to make sweet love to you. I'm not being carnal, I'm being real. He wants to hold you. He wants you to come in at the end of the day and say, "Oh Lord, I could hardly make it today. Woo, I went through so much today. I'm so glad I have you in my life. They tried to devour me, but I thank you for this time we have together. I just couldn't wait to get along and worship you and praise you and magnify you. You're the one who keeps me going. You're the lover of my soul, my mind, my emotions, my attitude, and my disposition. Hold me, touch me, strengthen me. Let me hold you. Let me bless you. I've set the night aside for us. Tonight is our night. I'm not so busy that I don't have time for you. For if I have no time for God, surely I have no time for my spouse. My body is yours. Nobody touches me but you. I am holy in body and in spirit. I am not committing adultery in our relationship. My body is yours. God is of the opinion that if you do not belong to another, you belong strictly to Him. God expects you to be purely devoted to Him. He thinks you are His. God's heart was broken with the ancient nation of Israel. It was broken because Israel came to Him and said, "Make us a king to judge us like all the nations." 1 Samuel 8 and 5. God thought He was their king. When they preferred a man over Him, He gave them to Saul, and Israel went to the dogs. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be married. Simply take care of the Lord while you're waiting. Minister to Him. Let Him heal you and free you and worship Him. Singles ought to be more consecrated people in the church. Instead of singles being envious of married couples, the married ones ought to be jealous of the singles. You are the ones whose shadows ought to fall in the people and they be healed. I don't like the way I read that sentence. You are the ones whose shadows ought to fall on people and they be healed. You are in a position and posture of prayer. The Lord has become your necessary food. While married people are dependent on their spouses, whether financially, emotionally, or otherwise, single people learn to be dependent on the Lord. God has no limitations. A married person may have a spouse who can do some things, but God can do all things. What a privilege to be married to Him. God says, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Acts 2 and 17. God has a special anointing for those who are free to seek Him. Their prayer life should explode in miracles. That does not mean it is wrong for you to want physical companionship. God ordained that need. While you are waiting, though, understand that God thinks He's your spouse. Be careful how you treat Him. He thinks He's your lover. That's why He does those special favors for you. It is God who made you into the beautiful person. He has been taking care of you, even when you didn't notice His provision. He is the source of every good thing. He keeps things running and provides your daily care. He keeps, oh, it is Him who opened the doors for you. He has been your edge, your friend, and your companion. Those who are married seek to please their spouse. Unmarried people seek to please the Lord. There's a special relationship of power between God and the single believer. Paul wrote, let each one remain in the same calling in which he was called. 1 Corinthians 7 and 20. In other words, the person who is single should remain, not wrestle in singleness. Rather than spend all of our efforts trying to change our position, we need to learn, develop the position where He has placed us. It isn't that what this means. I have learned in whatsoever state I am to be content. Philippians 4 and 11. I speak peace to you today. Maybe you haven't been living like you really should. Maybe your house hasn't been the house of prayer that it really could have been. You want to take this opportunity and begin to sanctify your house and body. Maybe your body has been mauled and pawed by all sorts of people. I want you to sanctify your body into the Lord and give your body as a living sacrifice to God. Romans 12 and 1. If you can't keep your vow to God, you will never be able to keep your vow to a human spouse. Give your body to God and sanctify yourself. When God picks your mate for one of His royal children, He will pick from those who are faithful and holy unto Him. He may pass over those who didn't keep a vow to Him. Begin to sanctify yourself. Bring your body before God. Bring your nature before God. Bring your passion to Him. Allow God to plug into your need. Allow God to strengthen you until you can tell the devil, my body belongs to God. My whole body belongs to God. I'm God's. And from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, all that I am belongs to God. Early in the morning will I seek His face. I lie upon my bed at night and call on His name. I touch Him, embrace Him. He is the God of my salvation. Marriage is a ministry. If you are single, your ministry is directly unto the Lord. If you are married, your ministry is through your spouse. Then you learn how to be devoted to God through the relationship you have with your spouse. Husbands, love your wives even as Christ also loved the church and gave Himself for her, that He may sanctify and cleanse her with the washing of the water by the word. Ephesians 5:25 and 26. Marriage is a place of human society. Marriage is the place in human society where true love can be expressed in a great way. Marriage partners are to give self sacrificially to one another. Jesus gave Himself for the church. So also do husbands and wives give themselves to each other. Marriage is not a place where we seek self gratification, it is a place where we seek the gratification of another, where we seek to gratify another. The sacredness of marriage is found in the relationship between Christ and the church. Jesus continues to intercede on behalf of the church even after he gave his all for us. He is the greatest advocate of believers. He stands before God to defend and proclaim our value. Sim- simmer- Similarly, husbands and wives are to be bonded together to the extent that they become the greatest advocate of the other, not demanding one's own way, but always seeking to please the other. There can be no doubt that God has special plans for each one of us. Those who are single need to recognize their position and seek to please God in every way. Single means to be whole. Enjoy being a whole person. The greatest visitation of the Holy Ghost in history happened to an unmarried woman named Mary. Before Joseph could, the Holy Ghost came upon her. That same life giving anointing wants to come upon you. Stop murmuring and complaining. His presence is in the room. Worship Him. He is waiting on you. And I actually just read the whole chapter. So, yay to us. Hey, God come through. 999, release. Endings are new beginnings in the disguise. Endings are new beginnings in disguise. An ending symbolizes closure of one door and opening of another. The whisper is reminding you to release and allow it. The whisper is reminding you to release and allow. It is in the release where the magic happens. Doors open for me where others have closed, bringing transformation to my mind, my body, and my soul. 000 guidance. You have full support of divine. The guidance you are seeking is here, and your Lord. You have full support of the divine. The guidance you are seeking is here, and your life is moving in the right direction. This is the start of a new beginning. Where one cycle ends, a new one begins. I trust in the magic of new beginnings. I feel the support and guidance that is all around me. God is with you at all times. And if you are in a season of being single at this moment, take this time to come become closer to Him. Take this time to worship with Him. Take this time to fill yourself, your vessel, with the Spirit of God and understand where you are in life. I just thank God because I feel like at this point, um, I feel like when I was a teenager, I got kicked off the porch at a very early age. I had to go through some traumatic things with my child and his blood relatives and things to that nature. And I'll tell the full story eventually, probably on one of these lives, because that's, I mean, bits and pieces are all through these lives of my life, to be real honest. But it was very traumatic. I didn't really have time to heal. I didn't have time to necessarily worship because I was always in a relationship. Well, I can't say always. There was times where I was by myself and I did go to church and I did worship, but those times was very few in between. I think I may have stayed single for a year or two in between relationships, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Um, but it was not really the time that I needed to heal myself. to know who I was, to know who I was in Christ, to know any of the things that I know now. I didn't have that space and opportunity to do so. So whereas people would look and say, "Oh, I lost everything. No one is around. No one cares about me." Whoop de whoop. I don't feel that way because I feel like my son turned 18, but it kind of felt like it was a renewal of my spirit and soul, and me kind of turning 18 all over again because I was able to sit with myself. I was able to go to the doctor. I was able to get the things off my chest that I needed to get off my chest. Um, and I've been able to start building a foundation that is worth a family one that will be worth a family one day. And I have faith that my story isn't over and my life isn't over. And yes, I will be married again, but it will be for the last time. Like, and to be real honest, nobody has been married to Kaisan. Let's be truthful. Have this vessel been married before? Yes, but nobody has been married to Kaisan. So it would be spiritually my first marriage, physically my second marriage. And yes, I do look at it that way because I know for certain that God did not ordain that first marriage that I experienced. That's why it took so long for the divorce to actually go through. I ended up having to file for divorce twice. And it wasn't until the ninth year halfway through. So we was married 9.5 years when the divorce finally went through. I thank God that He did not allow it to go to the full 10 years, because I don't know how that would have been. Mm. But I'm thankful that I was able to release. And the funny part is, my divorce went was finalized on 1/23/25. And I just really look at them first three numbers, 1/23, because that's um chronological numbers and it's a sign of growth. One, two, three, expansion, elevation. And so I feel like that was also a sign that with that being finalized, that I was also in a place where God needed me to be. And I'm just realizing day by day and being thankful day by day that I'm in a better place mentally, spiritually, and emotionally. I can share my stories now without getting mad. I can share my stories now without like having like a vindictive spirit. I can share my stories in pure forgiveness and understanding with hopes and intentions that my stories can help other people because I went through some things that a lot of people don't talk about. And I'm no longer scared to talk. So we're here today. So if you wonder why I can sit and talk on this live to myself um, for hours at a time, it's because being closer to God has given me so much freedom mentally, physically, and emotionally, and spiritually. It has given me a lot of freedom. I don't even really feel like it's hot outside right now. I might be wrong, but I don't think it's hot outside. Wheel of Fortune. The closer and closer that you get to God, the closer and closer that you get to your kingdom spouse. Oh, it's my laptop. Lord have mercy. I hear. It's like my ears. It's like that was yesterday. Okay. It's like my ears are on bionic mode right now. Like I hear everything. Jesus. And I really gotta stop saying Jesus like that because I be mocking somebody. What's that lady name? What's that lady name? No, I'm not even. What's her name? Her name like Brittany or something like that. When she was on that, what is that lady name? I'm not mocking Jesus because Jesus, it is what it is, and I'm not here to argue about Jesus, Yahweh, Yeshua, Muhammad, Allah. I'm not here to argue. I've been Jesus in some people's lives before in real life. I've walked through my Abraham season where I felt like I had to sacrifice my child. I've been through my Job season where everything felt like I was losing everything. Um, I've been Lot before. I feel like my wife did turn into a pillar of salt. Lord forgive me, no shade. My ex-wife, okay? No shade. But so I've been in these positions of these spirits of these folks in this Bible. So I would never say that it's not a tool that we're not supposed to use, but it's just not my end all be all. Because there's a lot of like this here. I didn't have to read a Bible today. I read a book and I got the message that I needed to get. So and I do know the Bible is a pretty powerful book because if you've ever had a house fire or anything to that nature, I guarantee you, if you had a Bible in that fire, that was probably the only thing left unscathed in that fire. I've seen it happen when I was 9 years old. Our house burnt down, and when we was kids, we went back to the house without my uncle and my aunt to just see like the damages and stuff. And literally, the only thing that we could find that was still intact was the Bible. I have witnessed that before. So I'll never take away from that ever, 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 ever. And if you are someone who is struggling with your relationship with God or religion or spirituality or whatever the case may be, I just want to say I surrender the doubt and trust the divine. Just surrender the doubt and trust the divine. He will he will show you confirmation that he is alive and that he is true and that he is omnipresent in this world. He can be everywhere at all times at the same time. I am guided every step of the way. I am guided every step of the way. I am my own safe space. Sometimes being by yourself is exactly where you need to be. It says, I am exactly where I need to be. Confirmation. So, if you are having a hard time, just sit and pray. And if you're having a hard time praying because you feel like you got to be able to spit into the mic and yell and scream like the pastors do, you ain't got to do all of that. I legitimately talk just like this to the Lord God. And honestly and truly, I'm going to tell y'all the truth and I'm going to shame the devil. I cuss when I pray. God told me to come as I am. And the more and more that I speak, the more and more that I get around different people, my desire to cuss is very slim. But There's been times where I'm pissed, God, what the fuck is going on? Straight like that. I'm just gonna, he wants you to come to him when you're happy, when you're sad, when you're mad, when you're glad, when you're dysfunctional. Come to him as you are. If you don't understand, just come to him as you are. And he's gonna make a way for you to understand. He's gonna put it in a language that you would understand. Confirmation. It's like me. People like, I became an ordained minister 4 years ago. Matter of fact, it'll be 4 years next month. A lot of people don't know because I walk like this, I talk like this, I dress like this, and it is what it is. But why do I do this? Because I've reached more people being myself like this than somebody with a suit and a tie on that's yelling and screaming and saying you going to hell. Who taught us that fear, we were supposed to lead in fear, teach people fear in order to love the Lord, or in order to get closer to him, or in order to get your kids in line? Who taught us, or who told us that fear was the way? I do not fear God. I'm not a God fearing man. I'm a God loving man. And as a God loving man, I understand that with my position comes certain, I am held at a higher standard when it comes to the things that I do and say. And when I'm around people who are doing certain things, I'm not to partake in those certain things because I'm held at a higher standard. I know this, and I love God for giving me that promise and for also chastising me when I'm not right, but also loving me till I get it right. So I'm not a God fearing man, I'm a God loving man. And God loves me. I will never preach the spirit of fear into anyone because I just feel like preaching the spirit of fear into anyone is pouring that into their cup. This is fear. This is your cup. I'm pouring fear into your cup. Eventually, this fear in this cup will run over into other things. What happens to the overflow in your cup? The overflow in your cup goes into somebody else's cup. And then what? Now you're preaching fear into them. And then what's all in your cup? Let's just be honest. You got love, you got compassion, you got faith, you got all these things in this cup. But then I'm pouring fear into it. It's like pouring poison into a cup of love, a cup of grace, a cup of mercy, a cup of forgiveness. We want to pour fear into it. I'm not pouring fear into shit. I don't fear anything. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I fought the biggest of the biggest, and I try not to touch the smallest of the smallest because if you know you can beat somebody, just walk away. I don't know if that was a good example, but I'm just saying. Now your overflow is overflowing into somebody else's cup, and now you have poison that was poured into your cup from the people before us that's poured into somebody else's cup. And now we have a generation and a generation and a generation and a generation of people fearing shit. And because fear is a spirit, now that's pouring over into after day, getting up and going, even when they don't know what is going to happen. When they can't see anything, all they know is that they fear because you done poured the spirit of fear into them. Now I'm scared and my faith is weary. I don't preach the spirit of fear. I'm not like I did at one point in time with my parenting use the spirit of fear because that's what I was taught. But that is not no longer what I believe. And what I believe is no one should have the spirit of fear in them. So I do not fear God, and I do not believe that God wants me to fear him. I believe that he wants me to love him and that he wants me to trust that every promise that he has made will be true. So if he promised that if I do that, he's going to whoop me, I'm going to trust that he's telling me the truth and I'm not going to do that because he's gonna whoop me. I'm not scared that he's gonna whoop me. I just trust his promise that he's gonna whoop me. I trust him. I do not fear him. And I'm not teaching the and I'm not planting the spirit of fear into anyone ever. That's why I walk and I dress and I talk the way I do. Because I reach more people just being myself. Now, don't get me wrong, I like suits and ties. I actually love wearing suits and ties. If I can get up and put on a suit and tie every day, I would. I might not have on dress shoes every day, but I know how to dress it up and be presentable and nice. But at the end of the day, I meet a lot of people where they are, and a lot of people need people like me to meet them where they are. Because we don't need stiflers trying to come in and preach the spirit of fear into us and have us fear that we're going to hell if we don't do this or if we don't do that. Baby, I done lived hell on this earth. So fearing hell after death is not even in my thoughts at all. Like at all. I've been to hell. I've been there. Gasoline draws. I've been there. And God renewed my spirit and my soul. And he restored me. So, for anybody out there who's scaring, I mean, that's who that. Lord have mercy. You don't want me to talk. Somebody don't want me to talk. Somebody's tired of me talking. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Listen, Adobe, that company would change its name 50,000 times to continue to draw money out your account. When I say Adobe has a new business name every other day to draw money out my account. Shit is crazy. And I don't even use Adobe. Yo, this is not what I expected this live to be. But you know what? I never know what these lives are gonna be. I don't plan them. I have a notebook full of channeled messages that I have not opened up and read yet to y'all at all. Like, I mean, I got like channel I just be channeling messages, channeling. Cause I get messages through the trees. I get messages through a commercial. Like, I get messages through damn near everything, and they be real life messages. I don't know what was that show? There was a show back in the day about a man. Hold on, I'm about to find it. And that show used to be one of my favorite shows too. And now I know why it was one of that show. Hold on, let me see. Early edition. Early edition. That was one of my favorite shows back in the day when I was younger. So it was about a man who would get the newspaper a day early, and he would use um that newspaper to like stop crimes and to save people and stuff like that. And that was literally him. Early edition and Monk used to be one like two of my favorite shows. And now I know why, because Monk was a little neurodivergent, and I'm a little neuro. I am undiagnosed at the moment, but we working on it. It's funny because I actually lost my last job because I kept like from the beginning. I told him that I needed to go to the psychiatrist because my daddy just died, and that I was needing to get tested for autism, but it was only certain days that I could go. So for months, he would call me in on my days off. And sometimes I would miss my appointments. And sometimes he just completely took the day altogether and he gave me a Saturday. I don't need a Saturday off. I don't party. I don't chill. I don't hang out. I need to handle my business. And this was already told from the jump. And he took my days. So then finally, like maybe in May, I told him like, yo, I really need either one of these days off so that I can go get tested and so that I can better do my job. And he just kept like he ended up taking me off the schedule. And I ended up going to therapy, but then when ended up taking me off the schedule, he ended up just hiring a whole bunch of people, and he ended up letting me go and told me that I didn't want to do my job. Mind you, I was a therapist, a mechanic, and some more shit on my last job. I mean, I'm talking about people crying on my shoulder, me doing, I'm coming out for one service and I done gave you 4 services in one stop type stuff. If I didn't want to do my job, I wouldn't do it. But a part of me doing my job is also knowing that I need to keep my mental health at a good standing and I need to go get tested for being a neurodivergent so that I can learn how to handle certain situations without being flustered or frustrated or whatever the case may be. Like I've noticed my own patterns. So at this point, okay, I really need this day. I'm only asking for one day, not 2 or 3, but one day. I say I can make all of my appointments in one day, and he would not give it to me. But I believe that though because he was racist, and I called him on it one day. I was like, "Yo, you are really racist," and he was like, "Yeah," and it's like, ooh, and he didn't care. He didn't care to hide it. He didn't care to deny it. He didn't care. So when it comes to bettering yourselves, if you have to step away or do something out of the norm to take better care of yourself, trust that God is going to make provisions for you at all costs because you are actually taking the steps to take care of yourself and not be codependent on people, places, things, and mindsets that is no longer serving your greatest good. And when I tell you, he thought that I was gonna spaz the fuck out when he fired me. Baby, why you didn't tell me this at 7:45 when I pulled up? I would have been out of here already. It's 8:39, 9:30, and I'm still here for what? Why did you do all of that? Why did you not just say, hey, I'm letting you go? Because I would have said, hey, thank you. I'm proud of myself because I held in there. It's terrible working under bad management. It's terrible. Like, you can love your job. I'm talking about love your job. Like, one of my customers, I had a customer, she told me her birthday was 2 weeks away. She like 96 at the time. No, she was 95. Her birthday was 2 weeks away. Her daughter was coming to see her, or whatever the case may be. And she was like, I really like yellow roses. Do you not know? I didn't see that lady after that day. Like, after that day that I serviced her car, I did not see her after that day. But 2 weeks later, my DoorDasher sent me a picture of her receiving her yellow roses that I sent her for her birthday. I did that. And it was several different things like that that I did for my customers. Like, because I love my job, I love what I do. And I'm saying I love what I do because I still have a roadside assistance business of my own. I'm just not active at the moment because my car is down at the moment. You feel what I'm saying? So, and I ain't tripping about that either because I've been needing rest. My body has really been. I'm I'm transitioning. I've been doing a whole lot of transitioning this year. And when I say transitioning, some of you boneheads be thinking I'm talking about my body, and I'm not doing none of that. Like, I have done nothing to my physical to transition, okay? Nothing. Thank you for thinking that, but that is not me. I can only live in my truth until my side of the story. That is not my truth. I have done nothing to myself to outside of work on my mental health, my spiritual health, my emotional health. That is what I'm doing. Now, physically, I am working with them dumbbells and them arm trainers and this yoga mat and the resistance bands to help my joints and things to that nature. Because when I quit smoking, and I did quit, when I quit smoking, my chronic pain that I had already been living with for the last 13 years, it got worse. So I've been having to work out and stretch and do a whole lot of different things to try to work out my muscles. But when I say transition, I've moved. I've lived in like three different men homeless shelters in the last year. Um, I'm in a some type of facility right now. It's a whole story that I'm actually about to put out. I just haven't. I'm actually supposed to clean up today and put out like a part of the story. So that's what I'm gonna do. But I'm saying this to say, like, when I say transition, I just mean there's different things that's ongoing, changing in my life. And so my physical body has to keep up with all the transitions and things. And it kind of can be overwhelming at times. So then my body goes through a flare because I'm a little overwhelmed with hell, joy, not sadness or frustration or anything, but literally joy, excitement, anxiety about the days to come, and things to that nature. So God has given me this time to actually put my body to rest and be able to work from bed or be able to get up and go directly to my yoga mat and start working out or something to that nature. And so I'm like thankful in this moment in time. So some people, and I know that he did it to be spiteful, because so we had surveys at my job. Once you finish a service, the customers get a survey confirmation. In this survey, there's a part where it asks about how your technician did. It asks about um, you how well you were able to contact them to request a service. How was your overall service in all? And the reason he said that I was not willing to do my job is because we are supposed to, as technicians, so in 2026, the system went from people answering the phone to get you a service to AI answering the phone to get you a service. So with it being AI, a lot of people have frustration with them ordering service because 8 times out of 10, it's not actually what they needed or what they wanted, or it took too long, or we came quicker than expected, or something like that. So at the end of our service, we're supposed to explain to the people, hey, if you get a survey, because not everybody gets a survey, if you do get a survey, could you please put overall satisfied? But the thing about it is, I work with the elderly. A lot of my customers were the elderly. So it was kind of being fictitious, to be real honest, because all of the part where it said, how was your technician, was good. But because they didn't put overall satisfied with the overall service, then it was still on me that the service was quote unquote bad, even though the part that they didn't like was the fact that they had to go through AI to get service. And then AI might say it's going to be 2 hours, and I'm right around the corner from you, and I'm pulling up in 5, 10 minutes. You ain't even there. So if you ain't there in 10 minutes, I've been there. It's time for me to cancel the call because I've been there the allotted time. Now, for some of the people, I would actually sit and wait. But then for some, it'd be like they'll tell them, oh, your technician will be there in 20 minutes. And they didn't even send me the call for a whole hour. So how did you tell these people that the technician was going to be there in 20 minutes if they made this call an hour ago and you ain't sent it? So they weren't overall satisfied with the full service of them ordering the service, the AI and them dispatching the times and things to that nature. They wasn't overall satisfied with that, and I knew they wasn't. That's why when I came, I provided the best service. I'm showing up on time. If I'm telling you I'm gonna be there in 45 minutes, more than likely I'm gonna be there in 30. Like, I'm always ahead of the time that I was giving them. I was always abrupt and on time, and I went above and beyond to make sure that they was good. We had conversations about family members dying, conversations about caretakers, like just overall, like I'm talking about, I'm out here being a therapist to these people on the side of the road, children lost in the middle of nowhere. I gotta go unlock their vehicles because they in the middle of nowhere. Like crazy, 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 crazy. But they wanted to, so I made a suggestion. I said, hey, do you think that you could suggest to someone higher than you to update the survey to now represent the new system? Because if the system updated, why wouldn't you update the survey as well so that it all could go together, it can all tie together, and then you wouldn't have to tell anyone to lie about being fully satisfied when there's definitely parts of the service that they weren't satisfied with. And so there was a few people who, how people can be going through bad stuff, so they immediately take it out on the next person that's in line or whatever the case. Well, that was always me, the technician. So if their car broke down or it's not working, then I was the next person to feel the wrath because they was frustrated. Well, there was always like maybe one a day that I experienced like that, or one every 2 or 3 days that I experienced like that. It was always that one. So they would give me a bad review. I was rude. Um, I talk really low when someone is at a high energy of anger. I talk really low. Like I don't intentionally do it. It just my octave just will not raise to a certain level if you are angry. Especially if I can't get angry, it will not raise. So they be like I'm rude or he doesn't talk or he's a mute or he's disrespectful. Never any of that. Never any of that. So my manager would read off all of these bad surveys, and the surveys like it wasn't a whole lot of them, like two or three. So he would read them, and I'm like, hey, could you read me some of the good ones? Because I'm just knowing the service that I do. So they gotta be some good ones in there somewhere. I know the service that I do. I know the service that I do. So he would never read them. Why? It's the bad ones you need to focus on. This is what you need to do to be better. No, it's not. Those are the people, the ones who gave me the bad review are the people who need to work on themselves. Those are projective surveys. And I know this because I know the service that I provide when I'm helping people. And if you're being rude to me, you're being disgruntled to me, if you're attempting to fight me when I come to help you, I'm out of here. And I don't care about you needing help. Go fight the next person. Because you don't know me. Back in the day, I didn't accept that. I'll run up and hit your ass before you could attack me because I'm scared. Like, all I know is fighting. All I know is survival. So if you even feel it make me feel like you trying to fight, I'm scared and I'm about to fight for my life because it's either you or me. You feel what I'm saying? But I done grown so far past that I'm just like, have a good day because I'm not putting up with this or dealing with this. I came to help you. You're the one in need. I don't have to put up with that. So I would leave. So one day he finally read the good surveys to me. And do you not know those good surveys like kind of made me cry? Because like the survey, they was just like he's an angel. He goes above and beyond. Um, like the list just went. I'm not gonna like just go, but the list just went on and on and on about me being a lifesaver and helping them and making their day better. And I know this because I hug several of my customers and gave them a shoulder to cry on and certain things to that nature. And I prayed with some of my customers. So it's like, and some of my customers giving me gifts. I had a Hindu man invite me in for boba tea. And guess what? That was my first time ever having boba tea, but I loved no, it was chai. I think it was chai. It might have been chai. Either way it go, the man invited me into his home. And I had a Spanish couple invite me into their home. And even when they could not get through to the company itself, they went to their next door neighbor and gave their next door neighbor my number to call them to get help because they knew that I would help them. After I was fired, I had 2 or 3 customers call me, my personal work number, call me and ask for help. One of them, um, he needed service and didn't know how to order the service. So I got his address and the information, and he told me what he needed. And I called and went online and got the service ordered for him. And I didn't even work for the company anymore. But because this is what the things that I did for my customers, I went above and beyond for them. This is what I did. So I did it because I just love being of service to people, especially innocent people that don't have hatred in their heart. I mean, I still show love to the people with hatred in their heart. Like one of the ladies, she had a real nasty attitude and she had a flat tire. And she says, "Do you think someone slashed my tire?" And I said, "Be honest." I said, "Lady, if you immediately think that somebody slashed your tire, that means that your spirit not right and you need to do better with yourself." Do y'all not know this lady bust out crying, started telling me her whole life story, and then by the end of it, she apologized to me. She gave me a Valentine's Day gift, and we hugged each other, and we went on about our day. Like, she was very nasty at the beginning of the meeting, though. But at the end of the meeting, like her whole energy had shifted. Like she was not the person that I initially spoke to when I got there. And I was thankful for that. Because that's what I like. I like when people are happy. I like when I can turn people's energy around for the better. So, but I was saying that to say that he really despised the fact that people had so many good things to say about me because he was comparing me to Hitler. Hitler? No way could you be comparing me to Hitler. Me? Of all people? Now, don't get me wrong. Back in the day when you pissed me off, I could turn into Lucifer. Back in the day, I could. Like this, if you pissed me off. Or if you play with my nervous system. If you disturb my nervous system, it then piss me off, I could turn into Lucifer. But nowadays, like before I left the place that I was staying, I had this man, very mentally ill, call me a lot of things because I rejected him. He wanted to be friends with me after he had done called me some vile things, like some very nasty things. And he put his fist out one day because he saw that one of the guys that lived outside, he's a younger guy, he lived outside, and um, he fell on the pavement and was either having a heat stroke or a seizure. And everybody's sitting around watching this young man on this ground. So I immediately ran to the man and I noticed he was having a seizure. So I'm trying to lift him up. And at this time, nobody knows that I'm going through a flare in my body. So my muscles are weak as shit. Like I'm talking about weak. Like if you thumped me like that, I probably would have fell over. That's how weak I was. But I'm still gonna get up and do what I need to do, irregardless of the fact. So I'm like, and he's like, kind of, he didn't have a shirt on. He just had pants on. So I'm like trying to like roll him over on his side because he's having a seizure. And as I'm rolling him over on his side, he starts to regurgitate. And I'm talking about, and then I'm trying to hold his head off the cement out of the throw up as he's doing it and on the phone with 911 at the same time while there's a man screaming, talking shit, talking about I shouldn't be doing this. I'm not a medical professional. It don't fucking matter. If that was my child on that ground, if that was me on that ground, I would want somebody to help me. I would want somebody to help my child. Do not just sit there laughing at my child as he's having a seizure on his ground. So I'm on the phone with 911, da 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 da. They finally come. I'm putting like pouring cold water on the back of his neck because I didn't have a rag or anything to cool him down. So I'm just like just slowly just pouring the cold water on his neck until I can get the EMS to show up. They showed up and they took him. Well, the other guy that is mentally ill, he saw me helping this guy. He saw me saving this guy, or whatever. So now he wants to be my friend again. And he holds his hand out for a fist bump. And I say, my exact words was, we not cool like that, but I'll give you a fist bump. And I bumped him. And I went on about my business because a lot of people do that. A lot of people try to treat me nasty. And then when they see me do something good or they need something or something like that, then they want to be my friend again. I don't want to be friends. I have no desire to be friends. So, I said it respectfully. We ain't cool like that. But I still gave him a bump, you know what I'm saying? Respect. I still show you respect, but I'm not. So after I rejected him, like I just let him know, nah, we ain't on that type of time. The next day, he waits till I get out. He gets out in front of everybody, and I'm talking about it's well over 30, 40 people out there, and he start saying some very nasty shit about me. Some shit that if somebody heard it, like law enforcement or anything, they probably would have had to open up a case just to see, or whatever the case may be. But honestly, I think they already got a case. And it is what it is. But they would have. And instead of me, now my first thought was just wanting to run up and hit him in his shit, just to be real honest. But the growth in me, the person that I am today, I just literally sat. I sat in a chair and I let him say everything he wanted to say. And I just embraced the moment and tried to understand what was going on. And all I could do was thank God because if you coming at me this strong, I know something that I done prayed for is about to happen. So instead of busting him in his shit, I just sat and I started singing Leandria Johnson, Better Days. I know better days are coming. And I just embraced the moment. And sure enough, things were shifting and changing for me. And I definitely passed that test. So there has been a lot of things going on that I have not spoke on, that I'm um, gradually putting in my file of things that has happened because I got a whole filing cabinet with long ass file folders in them of things that have happened to me that I survived, that I haven't spoke on, and I'm still going and I'm still alive today. So, and honestly, I just said all of this and I don't even remember why I said it, to be real honest. But I guess this is my TED talk for today, and I'm praying that everything that I have said in this live gets to someone in some type of way to help you in some type of way because trouble do not last always, and there's always going to be some type of attack of the devil. And when I say the devil, I'm not talking about a man with red body and horns. I'm talking about just negative energy, low vibrations Things that no longer serve your highest self. That's the devil to me. That's my business. God's anointed, never giving Satan the authority. Never giving authority to these low vibrations. So I'm praying that as I do sit and I talk, and I'm aware that I'm sitting and I'm talking to myself, but I'm praying that I'm also talking to millions, even if it's only one that I get through to, that eventually these lives will get to people who actually need to hear them and need to see them and need to understand that you can overcome all things that you've been through, no matter how traumatic, no matter how vile, no matter how dark things have been. You can get through them. God can deliver you from everything that you've been through. And I'm sorry that you've gone through what you've gone through. And I'm sorry that you felt like you weren't heard. I hear you. I see you. I acknowledge you. And I'm sending you a spiritual hug. And I want you to know that this is just a season of your life. And you will not have to go through this or endure this ever again if you just learn the lessons that God is putting onto you or instilling into you so that you no longer have to live in these cycles. And I don't do a whole lot of, I look people in their eyes, but I don't do a whole lot of looking people in their eyes. I think that's a part of um, the neurodivergence in me, but I also feel like a lot of people who smile in your face are witches and warlocks. And don't get me wrong, because I don't need nobody over here getting misconstrued. There are white witches and warlocks, and there are dark witches and warlocks. And I do not oppose to the work of the white witches and warlocks. And when I say the white, I mean the light, meaning the good, the good. Because God gives authority to certain people to do certain things. And the ones who have the confirmation, the ones who have authority to do what they're doing with light, I commend you. And to the ones who have authority to do what you do with the dark, because if you don't know, you have to at some point tap into your dark side to heal your life, if that makes sense. And sometimes you have to step into that dark side to stand up for yourself, to protect yourself, to protect others. Confirmation. So for people out there to be like, oh, they're a witch, they're a warlock, please go educate yourselves on what it is to be those things. Because I think so many people have negative connotations on them, just like everything that's black. Black cats are bad. Um, Vanilla bean is actually black, but they put preservatives into it to make it white. It's supposed to be bad, yet you use it and you turn it white. If you never noticed, a lot of the things that are from our culture is deemed as bad because they deem us black people as bad. We're not bad. So stop listening to the connotations that these things are bad without actually putting in the work to be educated. Just like you people who I've gone down my timeline and I keep jumping shifts and I know it's okay. But I keep going down my timeline and I keep seeing you people and I don't see a whole lot. I do see it for the trans men, but more so trans women. For you people out here who are disgusting, who are harassing, who are just vile at the mouth and at the fingers, to these trans women who are minding their business. I need for you to go educate yourself on what it means to be trans. I need you to. And no, I'm not about to educate you right now because that's not my place in this moment in time. Your place is to go educate yourselves before you find yourself, and I'm going to use your words for a minute, in the pits of hell because you're living out of hatred. You're spreading hatred. You're spreading division. When God said, love your neighbor as yourself, we are supposed to lead with love. The love that God has given us, the grace and mercy that God has given us. If these women are not bothering you, leave them alone. They know who they are. They know where they came from. If these men are not bothering you, leave them alone. They know who they are. They know where they came from. They are just trying to live their life just like you. But see, the thing about it is, a lot of y'all hate because a person can actually be themselves and be okay in their own skin. And you hate it because even you, as a cisgender person, don't know how to love yourself. And that's the issue. You don't know how to love yourself, so you rather project and deflect onto people who actually love themselves just as they are. And if it wasn't for them to be that way, God would have never allowed it. It's 2026. God is advancing technology for more things to happen for the trans community. And you guys are still spreading hate. You guys are still spreading division. You guys are still harassing these folks who are not worried about y'all. You mad because they can take your man or your woman? If you add it up as an individual yourself, you wouldn't have to worry about nobody taking anyone because if they were yours, they couldn't be taken. So maybe you should go in your closet, do a little prayer, and find yourself, and then come out. I feel like y'all put this whole coming out thing, but in reality, everybody needs to come out the fucking closet, regardless of whether you was just in there praying or praising the Lord or sitting with yourself. Go in there and pray. Get right with God and come out the closet, loving yourself. I think that is the main goal of coming out the closet, loving your motherfucking self. And that's what y'all need to do. Stop harassing these folks that's not bothering y'all. Stop hurting and stop unaliving my people who are not bothering y'all. Because they're not bothering y'all. They're living their life happy. And your miserable asses need to go find some happiness. Because if you got that much time on your hands that you can go down a timeline and tell somebody, you still got a dick, you still got a pussy, you still got to get your prostate checked, you still got to get a pap, you are miserable with yourself. And we are continuing our lives because you don't exist to us. Trans women are women, regardless of how you feel. Trans men are men, regardless of how you feel. Non-binary, they are them. Just to put it as simple as that, they are them. Stop spreading hatred in this world. Lead with love. Lead with joy. Lead with kindness. Lead with respect. Lead with compassion. 44, 44 all the time. And honestly and truly, I think that's the end of my life. I think I have said all that I needed to say. So until next time, y'all already know.